Good morning, students. In the last class, we have done first part of the lesson, a house is not a home. So today we are going to do the remaining part. So in the first part, we have seen how the narrator, he had faced many problems in his life. He has to change his school, he has to be separated from his friends, and unfortunately his house got burned. He had lost his cat, and how he had faced all these problems. Now let us see how he overcome all these problems and how he got adjusted in the life. This is page number 52, first paragraph. When I walked through what used to be my house after school that day, I was shocked to see how much damage there was, and whatever had not burned was destroyed by the water and the chemicals they had used to put out the fire. The only material things not destroyed were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items that my mother had managed to heroically rescue. But my cat was gone and my heart ached for her. In the last part, we have seen that his house, the narrator's house, got burned and he had lost each and everything there, and they have to move out of their house. They have to shift somewhere else. So after school, he went to school that day, and after school he went to the place where his house used to be there, and he was shocked to see that there was a great damage. A great part of the house was burnt because of the fire, and what had not been burnt, it was destroyed by the water and the chemicals that had been used to put out the fire. And the only material things that are not destroyed that could be saved were the photo albums, documents, and some other personal items which his mother had taken out from the burning house. And his cat was also gone, and his heart ached for her, means he was very sad about it as he could not find his cat. There was no time to grieve. My mother rushed me out of the house, and we would have to find a place to live. I would have to go buy some clothes for school. But they don't have any time to grieve, they don't have any time to stand there. And his mother took him out of the house as they have to search for a new place to live, and they have to go to the market to buy clothes for the school because all his belongings they got burnt in the fire. We had to borrow money from my grandparents because there were no credit cards, cash, or even any identification to be able to withdraw money from the bank. Everything had gone up in smoke. Now, to buy all these things, they have to borrow money from his grandparents because all the things like credit cards, cash, and any identification marks so that they can withdraw money from the bank, they all had got burnt. They got burnt in the fire. That week, the rubble that used to be our house was being cleared off the lot. Even though we had rented an apartment nearby, I would go over to watch them clear away debris. Hoping that my cat was somewhere to be found, she was gone. I kept thinking about her as that vulnerable little cat. In the early morning, when I would disturb her and get out of the bed, she would tag along after me, climb up my roof, and crawl into my pocket to fall asleep. I was missing her terribly. Now the life is starting to be settled, and the all the rubble, all the debris, etc., they got cleared up from that place, and they have rented an apartment nearby. And the narrator, he used to go there daily to watch all the things of his house, and he was also hoping to find his cat also, as he was missing her very much, and he was thinking about as that vulnerable means tender, that cat. And he was remembering him that every morning he used to disturb her, and when he get out of the bed, and she would tag along after me means she would hang around him and sometimes climb up on his coat and sometimes crawl into his pocket to fall asleep. So he was missing her terribly. It always seems that bad news spreads quickly, and in my case, it was no different. Everyone in the high school, including the teachers, was aware of my plight. I was embarrassed as if somehow I were responsible. What a way to start off at a new school. This was not the kind of attention I was looking for. And it seems that the bad news, it spreads quickly, the bad news travels quickly, and in his case it was no different. Everyone in the high school came to know about his plight. Everyone, every student and every teacher, he came to know about his plight, that he has got his house burned. And he felt very embarrassed, and he was thinking as if he was responsible for all this, and he doesn't want such type of a start in the new school. And he says that I don't want this kind of attention. I want to be recognized in the new school, but I don't want this kind of attention. The next day at school, people were acting even more strange than usual. I was getting ready for gym class at my locker. People were milling around me, asking me to hurry up. I thought it strange, but in the light of past few weeks, nothing would surprise me. It almost seemed that they were trying to show me into the gym. Then I saw why. There was a big table set up with all kinds of stuff on it just for me. They had taken up a collection and bought me school supplies, notebooks, all kinds of different clothes, jeans, tops, sweatsuit. It was like Christmas. I was overcome by emotion. People who had never spoken to me before were coming to me to introduce themselves, and I got all kind of invitation to their houses. Now, the next day when he reached school, the people, they were acting more strange than usual, and he was also very surprised about it. He was getting ready for his gym class at his locker, and the people, they started miling around, means gathering around him, and they were asking him to hurry. And he thought it very strange, but he was not very much surprised, because from the last few weeks were very surprising for him. He was getting different types of surprises, and it seems they were trying to show me means pushing me hard. They want me to go to the gym very soon. Then I saw why. But what did he see? He saw that there was a big table with all kinds of stuff on it just for him. His school supplies, his bag, notebooks, books, all different type of clothes, jeans, tops, sweatshirts, all the things that are useful for him. Actually, what they had done, they had made a collection and they bought these usable items for him, so that he may not be deprived of all these things. So it was just like a Christmas. He feels as if he was getting Christmas presents, and he overcome by emotion. The people who had never spoken to him, they were coming to him, they were showing their sympathy, and they want to introduce themselves. I got all kind of invitations to their houses. Means they are inviting him to his house also. Their out their genuine outpouring of concern really touched me. In that instance, I finally breathed a sigh of relief and thought for the first time that the things were going to be okay. I made friends that day, and all the people, they were concerned about him, they were showing their concern, they were showing their sympathy, they were inviting him to his house, they want to be befriended with him. And he had a sigh of relief. He thought that the things are going to be normalized, things are going to be okay now. I made friends that day. He made many friends that day, as all people, they were coming to him. A month later, I was at my house watching them rebuild it, but this time it was different. I was not alone. I was with two of my new friends from school. It took a fire for me to stop focusing on my feelings of insecurity and opening up to all the wonderful people around me. Now I was sitting there watching my house being rebuilt when I realized my life was doing the same thing. A month later, he was sitting outside his house and he was watching it rebuild as the house was getting repaired. But this time it was different. He was not sitting alone, he was sitting with two of his new friends. He thought that feeling of insecurity and that feeling of loneliness is going away, and he is surrounded by wonderful people around him. As he has made many new friends, he thought that people, they are concerned about him, they are giving him company. Now he was sitting there watching his house rebuilt when he realized that his life was doing the same thing. Means his life was also re-beginning for him. It is a new start of life for him. While we sat there on the curb planning my new bedroom, I heard someone walk up to me from behind and say, "Does this belong to you?" When I turned around to see who it was, I couldn't believe my eyes. A woman was standing there holding my cat, and I leapt up and grabbed her out of the women's arm. And they were sitting on the curb. Curb means concrete border. They were sitting on the platform on a concrete border, and they were planning for his new bedroom and how it should be. He heard someone walk up to him and behind and say, "Does this belong to me, to you?" What does he saw? He saw a woman standing there, and he was holding his cat, and he was very surprised, he was very happy to see it, and he leapt up and grabbed her out of the woman's arm. He was so much surprised and so happy that he just grabbed his cat out of the woman. I I held her close to me and cried into that beautiful orange fur. She purred happily. My friends were hugging me, hugging the cat, and jumping around. And he was so happy. He just hugged his cat. The cat was also very happy. She was making little sounds to express her happiness. His friends were happy. They were hugging him. They were hugging the cat, and everybody was jumping around. He was very happy as he has got his cat again. Now the life has started again. Apparently, my cat had been so freaked by the fire that she ran over a mile away. Her collar had our phone number on it, but our phones had been destroyed and disconnected. This wonderful woman took her in and worked hard to find out whose cat it was. Somehow she knew this cat was loved and sorely missed. Now the cat was so freaked. Freak means frightened. At that night, when the fire broke out, the cat was so frightened by the fire that she ran over from that place, and she ran over a mile. And her caller was having his phone number, but the lady was trying on these phones, but the phones had been destroyed and disconnected because of the fire. And this wonderful woman took her in and worked hard to find out whose cat it was. Now that lady, she was very kind. She took all the pains to find out whose cat it was. She found out the address, and she knew that this cat was loved. It was a pet cat, and it was missed also. So she found out the number, and she found out the address also. And as soon as she you can say find out the address, she reached there. As I sat there with my friends and my cat curled up in my lap, all the overwhelming feelings of loss and tragedy seemed to diminish. Diminish means gayab ho jana, vanish. I felt gratitude for my life, my friends, the kindness of a stranger, and the loud purr of my beloved cat. My cat was back, so was I. Now he was sitting up there with his friends and his cats. He was a cat. He was very happy, and the feeling of loss and tragedy, it has seemed to diminish. It seemed to decrease, and now he felt thankfulness for the life. Gratitude means for a thankfulness for his life, for his new friend, for the kindness of the stranger, and his beloved cat also. Now he thinks that his cat was back, so was I, means so he also got a new life. He also is going to start a new life. Now everything is settled in his life. So in this lesson we have seen the problems of problems faced by a teenager, the challenges faced by the teenager, but one must face the challenges of life head on and must encounter them bravely, and we should never lose heart, and we should try to adjust to the situation, and the things will always come towards the normalization. So this was all about the lesson. Rest of the things, that question answers etc., we'll do in our assignment. Thank you very much.